The second equation, dx dt plus 3x is equal to t. All right. So again, we talked about, we got this problem, dx dt is equal to 3. X is dx dt plus 3x is equal to t. Let's go through the first method. Method 1. Let's do this idea of using an integrating factor first, not the variation of parameters. All right, so we got e, antiderivative of this term that's in front of the x. We talked about that before with respect to t. And we end up with e to the 3t. We call that an integrating factor. That's our integrating factor. All right, what's called an integrating factor. Well, that we're going to multiply throughout the entire equation. So we got e to the 3t. Let's multiply that to the original problem, dx dt plus 3x is equal to t. We end up with e to the 3t dx dt, all right, multiply those two, plus 3x e to the 3t is equal to t e to the 3t. All right. So like we said before, all of this represents the derivative. All this represents the derivative of the integrating factor, e to the 3t times x. If you look very carefully, the derivative of e to the 3t is e to the 3t times 3 times the x added to the derivative of x times the second untouched. All right, so all of that represents the derivative of the integrating factor times x. Let's bring that down. And now let's take the derivative of that, the antiderivative, The antiderivative of any derivative is the original problem, e to the 3t times x. And now we have to take the antiderivative of this right side. If you're comfortable with your calculus, you'll see that you have to use a very, very popular technique called integration by parts there. So this is a Calculus 2 topic. To take the antiderivative of this product like that, let's make this first term, let's write this down. The antiderivative of u dv is equal to u times v minus the antiderivative of v du. All right? That's not right. Antiderivative of u dv. I think that's right. Okay? So now we've got to use that. No, I think I was right the first time. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. V. I forgot. VDU. I believe that's right. All right. We'll get it right. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah, I think that's right. So now let's make u t du is dt. Dv, in our original problem, that's e to the 3t. What we're doing now is we're trying to integrate, trying to find the antiderivative of that product. And v is 1/3 e to the 3t. I'm not going to show all the work there. Hopefully I can convince you that that is the case. All right. So now we want to take the antiderivative of this, so we need u times v. That's 1/3 t. 1/3 t, I'm multiplying these two, u times v is 1/3 t, e to the 3t, all right, multiply those two, minus the antiderivative of v du, minus the antiderivative of v du. So let's pull out that 1/3, pull out that 1/3, and we end up with e to the 3t, all right, dt. Sorry about that. dt, okay, which is this du that was here, all right. So now all we have to do, we just took the antiderivative of this product. Now all we have to do is know how to take the antiderivative of that, and that's not too difficult. That's not too difficult. So let's bring down the e to the 3t times x, bring down the 1/3 t e to the 3t, all right, minus, we'd have to use u substitution here to take the antiderivative of e to the 3t, make u 3t, du would be 3 dt, all right, so we end up with 1/3, all right, antiderivative of e to the u, du, there, with this du there's no 3 in that problem, so we'd have to multiply by 1/3 to get rid of the 3 that would be in the du. Simplified, this would be e to the 3t times x is equal to 1/3 t e to the 3t minus 1/9. Now you take the antiderivative of e to the u. Antiderivative of e to the u is e to the u. U is 3t, and then you put the plus c there. All right. Now, we're almost done. Almost done. Solve. We solve for x here, as I told you before. A differential equation, the solution to a differential equation is another equation. So we're solving for x in terms of t. We're going to divide by e to the 3t on both sides. We end up with 1/3 t, but if we divide this by e to the 3t, that would cancel, minus 1/9. We divide that by e to the 3t, that would cancel, plus, and we have to also divide this constant by e to the 3t, we'd end up with c e to the negative 3t, because if we divide by e to the 3t there, we'd move that e to the 3 up to the numerator, and that would make that negative. So the final answer to the solution, final answer would be x sub t is equal to 1/3 t minus 1/9 plus c e to the negative 3t.